For this essay, we're going to do one clarification, one apology, and one technical correction. Because again, I'm not unhappy to say I'm pleasantly wrong about certain things. So let me get to my mistake and apologize profusely on that. I was very critical that we didn't get really anything of the dragons with the early photos on House of the Dragon. Apparently, I'm wrong. They did release some of the concept art. They didn't release a lot, but what they released was actually pretty encouraging. So, apologies on that one. Yeah, we do have at least some idea of how the dragons are going to look for House of the Dragon. Actually, it's kind of ironic. In the preview teaser, they actually featured dragons and featured a lot of animation with the dragons, but nothing so far beyond that, which is a little curious. And one apology, because I was very, very mixed on the casting, and I voiced my concerns that the casting doesn't really match up or do, I think, a good job with the books, or even, I think, what they're going to try to do for the adaptation. Again, I'm not dogmatic. I'm not saying it has to be 100% like the book. I myself am not as into the Targaryen histories as other people. I do like certain parts of the story, as long as it's embedded with other stories. Like, I find the Dorne part of the Targaryen story interesting, but again, it's very contextual with what I'm interested in. However, now that we're getting more recent photos, I am willing to apologize to at least one cast member in particular. I do think Olivia really, really looks like Alicent. I don't mean that in terms of the books. I mean, I think in terms of the grandeur, she really, really looks good in terms of what they're trying to do for the series. Now, she herself is not technically a Targaryen. She's a Hightower, and she's playing the daughter of Otto Hightower. And I think the father and the daughter, they make sense. They look right. The costumes look spectacular with them. So in their case, I do want to apologize. I do think Olivia looks spectacular. So I think the casting with her really, really looks spot on. So I think with that one, I'm like, okay, that's making me reconsider if this is going to work or not. But unfortunately for the rest of the cast, the new photos actually, if anything, confirm my fears that the costumes and the wigs are really, really not looking good on these people. So now, to be fair, the wigs were also a big problem with Game of Thrones. And again, if you noticed, they were really unbelievable. They didn't make a lot of sense. They just weren't the best part of the show. It was really, really distracting, actually, especially with Daenerys. I mean, after a while, it was pretty obvious that's not Amelia's hair. It doesn't even seem to fit her body. They even changed the hair color. It was just really all over the place. So the wig stuff has always been a major failing with the show. But clarification, we are going to see a little bit more of Game of Thrones than I may have said in the other video essay. We're apparently going to get Ramen, who's going to be the music composer from Game of Thrones, and he's also going to do the music for House of the Dragon. And that's very encouraging. Now, I myself am not a Ramen fanatic. I think I like him just fine. I didn't like the main theme for Game of Thrones. I'm one of the rare people that wasn't that into it. I do like some of his pieces. I actually listen to them a lot, but I'm sort of like not as fanatical with Ramen, but I think him doing the music is very, very reassuring. At least the music will be of very high quality. There are a lot of elements here that do speak that the show is going to work. And again, unlike other people, I do study this stuff very seriously in terms of research. And just the way that these things are set up in terms of depth, because you have to just pay a lot of money to do any television series, we're at least going to be guaranteed 1 to 2 seasons. So unless the ratings are incredibly disastrous, we're locked in for at least 2 seasons of the House of the Dragon, which works out for me financially, hopefully, because, if the channel grows up with the show, that's fine. But again, as I said, I'm a little mixed whether this is a good idea doing the Targaryen history. And for those who are a little bit completely new to this, the Targaryen history they're going to focus on is with Daemon Targaryen, and I hope I'm not butchering this, Rhaenyra. Again, I'm just not into Targaryen, so somebody will correct me if I'm getting that right or wrong. So it's really the civil war between, essentially, the siblings within the house of the Targaryens. Somebody reported earlier that Matt Smith was going to be Aegon. He's not Aegon. He's not Egg. Because if he was Egg, I would be really panicking, because he is not Egg at all, and the idea of him writing Balerion would just be ridiculous. So they're not doing that. They're doing Daemon, and they're doing Rhaenyra. So this is still set a long time before Game of Thrones. However, if you are into that aspect of Game of Thrones, we are going to see the Lannisters and we are going to see the Starks. They're reporting they're not going to show the Starks or the Lannisters in the first season, but again, these things could change. And I would guess they're not going to be stupid. They know that they're fan favorites. So we're going to see a little bit of the Lannisters and the Starks within the show. But again, remember, the focus here is on the Targaryens. So if you were more into the Stark Lannister family drama, there's going to be some of that, but how much we have yet to see. Now, there has been some reporting on the scripts, so we do know a little bit about the quality of the scripts. So we're not coming in blind, but I think that's going to require its own analysis because it's sort of mixed as to what we think we should be getting and what we should expect. Again, it's good we're getting a shot of the dragons and how they're going to look, and the cast still has me sort of like, maybe this will work, maybe this will not, but Alicent looks really, really good. So she, at least I'm very confident, is going to make a lot of sense with whatever they do. And we are going to have some carryovers from Game of Thrones in terms of characters from the Starks, as well as the actual, quote, creative team like Ramen. Again, if you were a little bit on the fence, which I am, there are some signs that they are going to do some good things, at least in terms of music and the set design. I think those look pretty good. But other aspects like the costumes and casting are a little bit all over the place, and I'm not sure where they're going to go with that. Again, a little bit of a mixed record, but it's very early on. But it's not as early as people think. We do have more information than people might suspect, and I'll get into that in the other video essays. But yeah, this official look at House of the Dragon is encouraging, but again, I am just very cautious about where we're going to end up. All right, this has been Game of Thrones Analyze on the first official look at House of the Dragon, the upcoming prequel series for HBO.